How's that? Weird ass shit. Uh-huh. Okay, this is the same problem I had last time. How come I won't stay full screen? Okay, fine. Like that. Okay. Hey there, Tarak. And I'm gonna do a walkthrough, sort of like I did last week, a breakdown of the recent One Piece episode. There's a lot of neat shit in the art going on in this one, and I wanted to go over. Wait, where's my copy? I think I took way more images than I did last time. So recap. Um, the last episode covered chapter. Oh, my tablet's gone. Hold on a second. It's missing. Where is everything? What? Oh, no. All right. Here we go. I get this shit going. Is this working here? Okay, so that. I record like that. So we were on, yeah, we're covering chapter 1045. If you want to find this in the manga, now we're up to 1072. You can see how much they stretched this out in the anime. We're gonna be the we're gonna be the freaking we're at 1090 in the we're at 1090 in the manga right now. No, officially, we're some raw ones came out, and by the time we get to that in the turn my phone off here. By the time we get to that in the anime, it's gonna be like probably 210. I bet, like 20 episodes ahead. No, 25, something like that. So, anyways, yeah, this episode follows all the beats primarily of the chapter, and they make it even better. They just wait one thing. I spend too much time after I'm trying to prep for this, and I still forget everything. So they cover all the. This is a continuation of the fight with Kaido and Luffy. We get to see a whole lot of wacky shit from Luffy, and trying to make plans with someone, anyways, and they don't. And so, um, we start this episode. Let's get my screen up. Um, with this great shot of Onigashima. Love this shot. A lot of great shots in here. Again, what is this skull? Is this really some kind of an Oars type skull, like a predecessor to Oars? Because this head looks way bigger than what I think Oars was. I'm sure like that's got to be like 4 or 5 times bigger than what Oars' head was, and Oars Jr. is. If he's alive, hopefully. We still haven't found anything about him. I noticed that's very disappointing. We got Marco in this arc, but we don't know anything else that's going on with any of the other Whitebeard pirates. Are some of them dead? Some of them have to be, unfortunately, dead. That we know Izo here is here too. Actually, I'm talking about the ones that fought when Marco led a battle to avenge against Whitebeard against Blackbeard, and they call it the Payback War, and they broke up the Whitebeard pirates. So we have no idea what happened to any of them. So Oars of 3. Yeah, I wonder what this thing is like. This skull is some kind of predecessor. Also, when did it lose its horn here? Wasn't that on it earlier? The Zoro or King cut that off. Also, a great shot here. We see Kaido, his dragon form here, and we know Kaido's like what 2 or 3 miles long, probably, and so his body's there, so you can get a scale of this battlefield the two are using. So next, we get a great shots here of Luffy bouncing around, and then we get Kaido pointing out how oh, it's not doing it. Kaido points out. I'm trying to just get this video over in case I gotta review this thing. Come on. Kaido points out how he recognizes that Luffy must have awakened, but and he appears because he's assuming because so Kaido understands the the devil fruit ability main types, but he observes that Luffy is acting like a Paramecia, but transformed like a Logia, not Logia, excuse me. So Logia is one to it. Zone. So only a zone apparently will actually have physical changes when they awaken. Paramecias and Logias will not. Wait, I wonder. I don't think so. So I think Logias too, and Paramecias. Well, you know what's interesting? With Paramecias, we only have Doflamingos to go by, and his fruit powers gave him similar traits to how we would imagine a Logia to be, because it's changing the landscape around him. He can turn all kinds of things around him into string, which reminds me of what we would picture like if like I'm gonna go with Kizaru. If Kizaru is awakened, so far we just see him transferring his body around at the speed of light with lasers to travel around, but we haven't seen if he would just turn everything into light or laser. So like, could he just turn the ground into a laser and it would like harm everyone that's standing right nearby him? And we can get an idea easily of someone like Akainu. We kind of figure out that it's probably likely that he is awakened, and that's what happened with Punk Hazard. But so he would just turn and start everything around him would just start melting the ground. Well, how would that work with him? Because magma really just is molten earth or other materials. So would it just slowly start turning everything in as he just stood there and kept turning on his awakening? Just like Luffy seems to do in here. Luffy at one point in here, he's like awakening again. He turns his awakening back on, and it's like just everything slowly turning. Well, not slowly. I think it happens relatively fast in a pretty big area into rubber. So it's what was I going with this? Oh, Doflamingo, and how his string fruit reminds me of a bit of a Logia. He's not considered Logia, right? He can't turn himself into string, right? But he can make string clones and stuff. Yeah, Doflamingo feels like a very special case with the Paramecia. It's like they have they put the next one they show here They even show artwork here to remind us. So they have a great artwork of Doflamingo using string fruit, exuding his step, pulling these tentacle things, and he had the bird cage, and then we also get Katakuri. Oh wait, Katakuri's got a spike thing on his arm too. So they call him a special. They call a special Logia, special Paramecia, because he's not really considered a Logia, in the way we think of it. I forget why. Anyways, side note here, I was thinking about something caught my attention yesterday, and this is probably just design choices by Oda. It's funny to think about. People thought for a while they thought that Katakuri would be Kaido and Big Mom's child, but we found the age does not work. The Katakuri is supposed to be is like 48 years old or so, and he's like the second, third oldest of the group because Sparrow's the first. He was born by himself, and Katakuri is one of triplets, and so he's up there in age. So I just realized that Alvida, given just some ways, this is very like, I'm not taking this too seriously, but if any character could fit, it could be her that I can think of, because she Alvida, Luffy's first pirate he defeated. I don't even think anyone knew as she got defeated. I wonder if he would have got a bounty already. Well, that's something too. Do you get a bounty? Luffy's bounty, he got a 30 million bounty as his first one from that twat working with Arlong. That just because he how do you put this? He probably just said, "Oh, Luffy attacked me, and he's defeating." Did he say? Did he inform the Marine up higher ups that he defeated Arlong? So I'm wondering if he had defeated Alvida, and then people spread word about it. Like, say Alvida was rampaging a town herself, kind of like Buggy and is doing later, and then Arlong's doing, and then the citizens saw he got defeated. Alvida got defeated by Luffy. Would that have given him like a 7 million bounty as a starting, something like that? Anyways, Alvida's the one I'm trying to point out, that she looks like she could be Kaido and Luffy, Big Mom's child. And it's, first of all, the first thing I was thinking about was the design choices. She wields a kanabo as a weapon. She's a big person who's very strong, relatively, and she likes to wear jewelry like Big Mom. So I was thinking, and she's the right age. I think she's 27 now. So to 20 years ago, that would have been big. Kaido would be an adult by then, because when Katakuri was born, Kaido would have been 11 or 12 years old. That's why it doesn't fit with him. Big Mom was old enough. Obviously, Peril Sparrow was born when she was 18 or 19. So Katakuri was probably born around when she was 20 or 21. So Alvida's the right age. And then I was thinking, if she was raised by Big Mom and Kaido, she would want to wear jewelry like Big Mom does, because she has all these rings. I don't know if she still does now, but she did when we first saw her, on each of her fingers, and she wields a kanabo as a weapon. So, and then she's a big person. She's kind of got Big Mom's physicality more, though she's got like little legs like Kaido, I think, back then, before her devil fruit. This is before she ate a devil fruit that changed her. So I don't think that took away any of her strength. I don't remember if she was wearing rings or anything though. So that was just my fun tangent thought, that if there's a pirate out there that is the from Kaido and Big Mom, doing it one night, or more, because we saw Big Mom when she met Kaido and he was 15. She still had it, and I'm guessing she didn't start turning into what we saw today until she started when the Rocks got defeated, and then she hung out on Topland all the time and started building her empire. And by the way, I still think she could come back and be a Yonko, because I know I said this before, but she's not been ousted from her territory. She's been defeated by other pirates that make her, that kind of like, now they're dismissing her as a Yonko, but she can return to her territory and still have all her children. She still has a power base where Kaido does not. So that's where I see her still being considered a threat, as far as a Yonko, the position like that, because she has a force to back her and resources to back her, and Kaido does not. He's an individual threat. kind of like the way Luffy was before. Now he can go back and have his crew. He'll have his core pirates. He can probably get the Topi Roppo and his other three, you know, King, Queen, Jack, and have a big crew like that. So that'll be like what, 10 of them, kind of like the same number as Luffy's got. But I don't know if that'll really make him. He'll be the fifth emperor. No, the sixth emperor. Big Mom would be the sixth emperor, fifth emperor, because she can still come back and be a danger. So so we get some more scenes here with Luffy. Like, I just was bringing this up because again, his legs just kind of like aren't bending at the knees, so he is very rubbery here. Thought that was cool. I just got this up. And this is where Kaido, great artwork, but this is just where Kaido's reflecting upon how he has all these zones working for him, and they transform, and Luffy resembles that now. So he's making a connection like, this is odd. I thought you were just a paramecia, but you're clearly. But that's something too. I don't think many paramecia change their body. Like, I don't think many can. They usually have some kind of power where they enact it on someone else. Like, well, off the top of my head, there's like what's his name? Foxy, who can what do you call it? He can slow time down or freeze someone basically. And then there's I'm trying to think of other paramecia. But Buggy, that's something too. But Buggy there. Does that mean Buggy too might be technically a human zone that just can turn himself into something else? There's so many questions there that brings up because it's kind of different because they can change their body, and I don't think many paramecia can technically do that. They kind of like have a power that can help an advantage in battle, but it doesn't change their body often the way Luffy and Buggy are, and the way average zones are, where they change and gain physical enhancements too. Their enhancements are obviously animal-like usually, and they are very fast, very strong, very durable in some way. And also, if you're a very strong person to begin with, like Kaido, that really ups the abilities too. And then Lucci's kind of like that too. He's very strong, and Luffy now too, where they're very strong and fast already for training, and they come that applies to their Devil Fruit abilities, Dragon, Leopard, and God in this case. So Luffy here, this is funny. Yeah, Luffy is relaxing too much again, and this is like a trait Luffy has here with this fruit. I don't know if the fruit's making him do this too much, but he's a little too relaxed in this chapter/episode, and I think it harmed him a lot more because he gets some good hits in, but at times he's like messes up, and this is apparent here. Also, his eyeball thing is great. This is exactly the stuff I pointed this out a year ago when I made a video relating how similar he is to the mask, and but his eyes are connected in this case. Although at some points I think they show his face with this where it's disconnected. Looks like we're getting a storm. And yeah, he kind of lets his guard down here, and Kaido ends up eating him, and he tries to get himself out here, and it's impressive too how strong Kaido's jaw is here, because Luffy turns into his muscle form, which actually I really love this because again I talked about this in my last breakdown. He's essentially can just transform into his other gear type forms. Like this one, he's using his gear 4th form with very quickly. He can just change into it without having to use his muscle balloon thing where he blows air throughout his body. Though he still did that with his gear 3rd attack in the last episode. I like how quickly he can just initiate this now. And also though, because Kaido points out, I guess he is able to using his armament haki throughout this fight. I wasn't sure because he's not darkening his arm. I suspect that just means he's kind of maybe he's using the advanced one now, and he doesn't really have to show it. So how do I put that too? With his gear 4th too, that sounds like he doesn't have to. With this, anyways, he doesn't have to use. I don't know if that means the haki is helping him maintain this form. It doesn't seem like it, but that it seemed like that was the case when he was using gear 4th Bounce Man and Snake Man, especially. He had to also there's his what's the other one? Anyways, he I like this how he can just shift into this form again. Though I think he could have maybe if he would have pumped up more muscle into his legs, maybe he would have succeeded here because he eventually gets swallowed here, and he's going down Kaido's stomach. Oh, I didn't take any screenshots of it. I like this spot where he's in the dark. So he's falling down Kaido's throat, and what he does is he balloons himself too. Oh, I didn't take a screen. No, he's bouncing around first. He starts increasing his momentum somehow, bouncing himself around, and and he's turning Kaido's body into rubber a lot in here. This is where he starts catching. He really, even though Luffy will mess up a lot sometimes in this episode, he also his abilities are really catching Kaido off guard. Kaido has been used to fighting other opponents, and then Luffy in turn before the awakening was fighting by using his brute strength and his other he was using his other gum abilities like gear third and probably gear second to increase his speed. But he was clashing with Kaido with his fists and kicks and stuff, and Kaido was using his counterbolt to counter. With Luffy's increased strength now that he had from training at the prison, plus him learning how to use the advanced armor and haki, he could counter the counterbolt this time. And now Luffy's awakening is just making him do all kinds of wacky stuff, which really feels like too. It's just obviously Oda saying, "Hey, I'm gonna demonstrate what Luffy can do now. He's awakened." But it's also a great way to like catch Kaido off guard, and in some ways it works. So he's changing Kaido's body here and zigzagging, and even punching out. This was a new one. This was not in the manga. Sure, he even has his face jump out at one point. This is cool as frick. His face just jumps out, and he it's just so weird at the same time. And the artwork with his hair, I just love. I got a lot of these shots in here, but it's just his artwork looks so good. Here's where he does the balloon. This is probably his biggest balloon form too. This is like looks like at least twice as big as his where he does Tank Man. He had that Gear 4 Tank Man he called it, which he used to beat Cracker, and he uses it to he goes so big. Now that picture this one's even bigger now. He goes so big he's expanded he's expanded Kaido. Well, again, he looks like he's a couple miles long. If you measure him like back and he's in that one town. And he's causing the funny thing is too, he's just blowing himself up with air, but they make it out like he's like a helium balloon, and he just starts causing Kaido to float away so much that Kaido can't even he tries to fly and stuff, and he can't control his body anymore. Wait, his back legs aren't even there. Are they around the top? That's funny. I just noticed that. Yeah, here he's trying to grasp the air, and it just isn't working for him. And we get Momo and Yamato are coming up to view the battle here, and they get many faces kind of like this throughout the whole episode, where they're like, "Hey, what is this? It's clearly something weird going on." Kaido's face here is great, and it's funny. Luffy looks smaller in there. I wonder if he really was doing something else to make Kaido's body pop out. I mean, yeah, Luffy throughout too will be still laughing his ass off. And so he finally escapes Kaido. Funny enough, they do this too. I think this is from some old cartoons. I should try and. It's hard to find a lot of those old cartoons and full episodes on YouTube. But I'm certain, I would love to rewatch those nonetheless. But I would love to. I want to find some more now because I want to like find where some of this stuff is similar cartoons where Oda may have taken inspiration from. An obvious one though would be if when I think of Gear Third, I automatically think of a Tom and Jerry cartoon episode where Jerry has this tough cousin named Muscles. I think that's just his name, Muscles. So Jerry's having a hard time dealing with Tom, and he writes a letter to his cousin who lives in this back alley area. And he's so tough that all these alley cats can't handle him. And for reference, alley cats are like, wildcats are usually thought to be like tougher. And in Tom and Jerry, they've even made certain episodes where Tom can't fight an alley. This one alley cat, I think it is just he's kind of a wuss, and his alley cat is like, I'm on the streets, I'm tough. And Jerry's cousin handles all of them easily, and so Jerry's cousin comes back to help him, Muscles. And there's one point where Tom tries to fight him, and Muscles does the Gear Third thing. He blows up his thumb and air into his fist and punches Tom out. And so that's one cartoon I'm sure is part of the inspiration for this Luffy's whole powers. And the same here with this part. I'm sure, I think there's been a cartoon. Oh, I know some. What were those? I think there's one with Tweety Bird, actually. I don't know if it's quite like this, but there's one with Tweety Bird swallowed by Sylvester, and he starts walking behind Sylvester's eyes. You can just see him, like it's like the eyes are just glass panels, and he's just walking through them. So this is kind of where this is going too, where Luffy sees the light through Kaido's eyes, the light coming in, because that's what light eyes are balls are for. They see the light spectrum, whatever it is, and so we can see. And Luffy uses this as a way to escape. Also, by the way, he just stretches his neck randomly here really easily. I'm trying to remember if he could do this so well before. So he escapes, as you can see, by getting his hands out of Kaido's eyes. And actually, it's funny, if Kaido's mouth was open, you would have thought he'd see the light through there. That's very wacky. It's just wacky, so it doesn't really matter. So Luffy grabs Kaido's nose and ejects himself out, forcing Kaido to become like this, because Luffy still got himself expanded. And this looks so painful too, because like Kaido's basically choking him out, choking as he's trying to upchuck Luffy here. Just wacky. Wait, what was that like from? Wait a minute, what's that from again? Hold on. What is that from when he pulls out? Wait, that's his tail? Oh, that's just that's all that this picture was. That's the back of Momo. He's flying up past the eye of the Onigashima. Actually, he's doing really well with the flying around in this. I noticed as well, where he is able to. He's basically, but again, he's watching this whole fight, Momonosuke, and I'm thinking, dude, you gotta get that. You should be getting Onigashima back toward the water like we were gonna do before. I don't think the island's really moving any closer at this point, though. If Kaido's so distracted by a fight. And I brought this shot because this was a great. I like this look of Momonosuke here, because also the last couple episodes here as they have been showing Kaido in dragon form, they're using that CGI look. But when they had Momonosuke in this episode, he's always in this, they're illustrating his face clearly, not using a similar CGI model, which I really appreciate. And these lightning shots are cool too. So now we jump to Luffy's next tactic, and this is probably my favorite one in here, because Luffy now, and I think these could be relevant in the next arc, not the next arc, the arc coming up after where we are in the manga, because it's clear we might be going to Elbaf soon, the land of giants, and Luffy here turns himself into a giant. He just expands his body somehow super big, so he already could do like his Gear 4 type thing, and now he just makes his body in his more properly proportioned size, legs and stuff, I mean, and he becomes a huge giant here and tries to come down on Kaido. Now, I'm not sure what his exact tactic was going to be here, but Kaido, this is where one of the points where Kaido takes advantage of this, and he's able to zoom up toward Luffy as he's falling and get him in the shoulder here. Yeah, Luffy is like a little bit caught off guard with this one. He gets a good bite onto Luffy, and he must be using like his hockey basically, because Luffy really here is in pain, and but he's fortunately able to recover, and he gives a good punch to Kaido here to knock him down. And this is where it gets really wacky. I saw everyone saying no. I watched some reactions where like, oh my god, is Luffy really gonna do this? Yes, he is. He freaking jumps rope with Kaido. Look at Kaido's eye again too. He's got the X on. I think he's temporarily knocked out again. Like Luffy does get some great hits on him in here, where he's made Kaido temporarily out of it. And Luffy just starts. Also, he's still wearing his sandals. That's right. Because I remember with Bound Man, he took his sandals off initially, and it's because he had to bounce around. But now it doesn't seem to be a problem. So he starts jump roping like crazy with Luffy, Kaido, which is also something because like where would he know what a jump rope is? Do people really have those here? Also, I like this artwork of how he's still going down and they got the dust and the air moving. There's some really cool art in here. So then Kaido wakes up and gets Luffy again. This time he's finally able to get a Boro Blast on him. And I like that they use the same artwork right here that they did with Kaido when Luffy deflected the Boro Blast, the last Boro Blast Kaido used in the last episode. And he gets a clean hit on Giant Luffy there. And this shot here too, I love the perspectives they're showing how high they're up in the air and using that kind of stuff. And so Luffy's doing his giant form gets blown like a mile away from the island. Oh, actually, it's got to be even more than that. And I like this shot here too because his hair reminded me of Afro Luffy from his fight with Foxy. But Luffy gets back into it. He spins out the dust, the suit like Kaido did, and he's basically figured out a way to fly here, similar to how he did with Bounce Man, and he starts just spinning in the air, Sonic style, and flies back to Onigashima here. And this shot's great too. I love these shots of Onigashima because they look just really detailed. It has a painting look to it there. And we briefly see here, who is that? Where Big Law and Kid are wondering what's going to happen up there, and they're concerned. This is the bit of filler that wasn't in the chapter where they was observing the fight, where they're still defending themselves against the riffraff on the ground. And I think they even show like some of the other samurai still holding their own. And then there's Otama and Nami are shown briefly, and they're trying to. Nami reassures Otama like it's okay, Luffy will win. She's really getting concerned here, and I mean for good reason because Kaido's just such a badass, imposing figure. You know, we can't count him out. I like this shot here. So at this point, Kaido, right after he blew Luffy away, it's showing him kind of his tails are still here, but he's clearly changing into his hybrid form. I like the red eyeball look. Now this was interesting too. They got these glowing lights. I wasn't sure why they did that, but that is Luffy coming back, and he starts doing this great spin move where he's preparing to punch Kaido. And this was funny too. He's going so fast with his feet, he starts erupting in flames. And unfortunately, though, Kaido is ready for him. This is great. This is as Kaido is propelling himself off the ground. So Luffy's getting ready to come down and pound him, but Kaido, what's this attack called? Conqueror of Three Worlds, I think. And he gets a solid hit on Luffy here, though. Luffy just came in too fast or too boldly, and then Kaido smacks him good. And just like Luffy. Luckily, Luffy's stamina is holding up. Maybe Kaido really is weakening in here, and it kind of hints at that later. Because these hits, when I read this the first time, I thought, how did Luffy survive these hits? So also there's a nice shot of the moon again right here. They keep showing that shot a lot. Actually, that brings up one thing. I'm surprised that is it Inuyasha? The one the cat one, and Carrot are down below fighting, helping to fight off the riffraff. And I was surprised they can't get under that moon and turn back into Sulongs to help get an advantage down there. But maybe they need more. The ceiling would have to probably be more destroyed. I'm suspecting to get acceptable light onto them. And we get this great shot here. This shot was good in the manga, but even better here, where his giant head, Luffy is smacked through the ceiling, and all these other guys are reacting. This is some of the riffraff of wait, there's a draft there. That's another draft head there. Where'd that come from? Are reacting to seeing Luffy, and we get all the other characters too. We get everyone's face. We focus on what 6, 7 faces here. First, they all look purple. I don't know what that's supposed to be like. They're looking sick. But see, it's Nami, Tama, uh, yeah, where's Usopp at this point? Nami, Tama, yeah, Chopper, Law, and Kid all have their faces pop out like this. This is fucking epic. This gotta. Oh, look at the way the coloring looks a little off of there. Oh well. So they're all like, "What is that?" And then Luffy's face. This is funny. This is a little not like ironic because when he pulled Kaido up before, Kaido's face got stuck in the hole, and now Luffy's does as well here. And then Marco here is like, wait, that's why they didn't have his eyes pop out. Marco's there, and he's surprised at Luffy's transformation visually, and like, what's going on? And then Nami, this art with Nami here was funny. And she's yelling at Marco like, what is that? Is that really Luffy? Why is he like that? And a little bit of me is like, okay, Nami, calm down. Marco's not gonna know what's going on. It's funny she asks him though, because he's the other mythical zone on the scene, but he's not a wakened one as far as we know, which is too bad because maybe he could help Luffy's stamina. So yeah, Luffy comes back up here, but he loses his steam comes out. I don't think I got that screenshot. He kind of transforms back into his normal form, kind of the way his normal awakened form, kind of the way when his runs, kind of like when he runs out of hockey or when he's knocked out and his gear forth and all the steam comes out. And for the first time, he's got a big bump on his head from where Kaido smacked him with the Kanoho. And then we get the more emotional part of this. There's one emotional part of this. He's come down to this regular form, and Kaido comments that like you seem like you're at your limits, and Luffy's like, no, I'm still good, but he does transform back. The shading starts from the top here, and he turns back, and it's so drastic on his body here that he actually turns into an old man looking form, very very drained. But then we see Kaido too is kind of putting up a front because he also comes down. Yeah, so comes down on his one knee, so he's clearly losing a lot of stamina too here. Oh wait, no, did he get a good hit in yet? Because Luffy gets some good hits in, but no, I think they come later. So he's clearly running out of stamina, and he tries to coax. He tries to kind of, I don't know, scare tactic. What would you call that? He tries to scare Luffy a bit by saying, "Hey, you can quit now. People will tell the story of your defeat, and your great battle, I should say." And Luffy's like, "No, I won't quit." He makes a very interesting statement here about how when you're dead, all there's left is bones, which is very interesting because we with the existence of Brook and his devil fruit, we know there's a afterlife for the in the One Piece world, but it's clear Luffy's never thought much about that or probably heard much about it because he doesn't fear he understands like if he's gone and understands his perception is if he's gone he can't come back. There isn't a way for him to do like what Brook did basically, and so he talks about no, I gotta put my life on the line, like my longevity more like because he we've seen this before where like he's taken years off his life. Lucci first brought it up when Luffy used Gear second, and when Ivankov had revived Luffy from the poison, there was something there about how Luffy's lifespan would be shortened, and him fighting for so long here and forcing his transformation to stay active is going to do the same thing. Kaido warns him of that. But Luffy here starts thinking about all his friends that he's fighting for, like the citizens of Wano, like Kinemon and Momo and Tama. And so he transforms back here, and he uses a great little Super Saiyan homage here where he glows yellow while his skin returns back to normal, and then they have the same sound effect. It was awesome. They show Pedro, so they show him remembering Pedro and his sacrifice to help get them here by helping them escape, Totland. Then we switch to this art too here. This is awesome. That's awesome where they switched. I think they used this before. This looked like the same stuff they used. I think it was episode 1015 where it was focusing on Yamato reading Odin's journal, and it showed a flashback. And it's where she realized how Luffy's very much like Roger. And it was a flashback where it mingled two things together. It showed Roger talking to Odin and Whitebeard about how to find the last island, and it mingled it with how Luffy was kind of having the same kind of an inspirational speech of his dreams, and he was talking to Sabo and Ace when they were kids. And I think this artwork is the return of those artists using this, as I'll show you some more in a second. But here too is where a great piece where he punches the ground and it looks like it's returning to rubber. You can see like this energy right there, the in the center, and the dark brown with the gray is right here is like the funneling of the energy of his power, turning everything into rubber again. Yeah, and Luffy here even looks less menacing here. This is kind of how I wish they could show him more often in a way, but I think they're going for something else with him being more that almost menacing smile he has. But he looks like a more heroic shonen protagonist in this bit here, with this shot as he's transforming back and waiting for his heartbeat to return, which like signifies his kind of Also, I like that this heartbeat thing is shown in here because it reminds me a bit too of his Gear Second again, where it seems like when he gets the heartbeat up, it's signifying his ability to his boosted abilities are coming back, his strength, speed, etc. And so he has that. He's waiting for that. And when it happens, we get this very interesting set of color changes here. I took a bunch of them. There's like the green, the blue, purple, green. It's like transitioning and contrasting. And it ends with like the yellow one. And then he's got this weird light come from his heartbeat. So I think this is also supposed to be kind of like a symbolism of Luffy's heart because he's such a pure person. And I really like how they're showing this. This is me. Wait, this is it. This heartbeat represents more than just my ability. It's me wanting to defeat you, to save these people, to help the people, to make those who sacrifice themselves like that's not in vain, and the people who are still alive, that their future they want, what they have been fighting for, especially people like the Scabbards, won't be in vain either. As we know, anyone who's read the manga, we lose a couple of the Scabbards in this fight. So he probably is aware of some of that in some way, and he wants to make sure none of that is in vain to beat Luffy, beat Kaido, and free Wano. So this is I think, the symbolism here of him fighting through his fatigue and laying his life on the line. Yeah, it's just artwork is just so good. It has a weird rigidity, like the lines are kind of less like straight and stuff, but it just makes him look better somehow. And he changes. He does that coloring thing again too, where he's I thought this was going to be an attack, but he's like just powering up, and it's like his aura pushing the wind away, kind of like what happens in Dragon Ball Z again. This too makes Kaido kind of like happy though. Even it's funny, Kaido's trying to talk him down a moment ago, like, "Hey, you can give up now." But when Luffy does come back, Kaido gets a smile on his face too. Also, I just realized sometimes when he shows Kanabo, it looks kind of short. And I always thought like that reach isn't great, but when he does this here, when they show it here, I like that the Kanabo looks like the perfect length to use as a weapon. So, but because when they showed that flashback, when they did that rock flashback with Son Goku, his Kanabo looked too short. Actually, I think when they show it, I can't show it here. I was looking at this. Oh wait, maybe that does come back later. When they show him using the Kanabo later, it looks kind of like it's too short at times. But this is the length I'm sure it's supposed to be. And with that kind of reach, he can really hit enemies before they get too close. That looks really good. So Luffy begins to speed up toward Kaido here, and it looks like he was going to attack him. Oh, and they show Yamato too in that new artwork style. You can tell they got the different artists, and then they do them throughout most of the other parts of this episode. So Luffy here though gets his guard put down again. When Kaido gets behind him and lays the face Kanabo right into Luffy here, and one of the most memorable shots for me from the manga. This is exactly how it looked in there as far as the face. And yeah, he catches Luffy off guard here and hits him good. But because Luffy's rubbery, it's almost like he's more like a putty in a way. This probably would have knocked Luffy out if he wasn't in gear 5th. Like even if he had been gear 4th, like Snake Man or Bounce Man, I think this back hit would have just done him in. But his body, while it hurts from the spikes, because he's rubbery and those spike things will cause him harm, he does not get knocked out, and he's able to start running away. And first he like peels his head off, and he tries running away, I should say, and then Kaido though smacks him down like this. But I think Luffy, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but Luffy gets the ground turns into rubber, and I think this really saved him here too, because the Kanabo, because Luffy's not being crushed between like a rock and a hard place, like between a Kanabo and the earth. The ground is helping him absorb the attack more, so he can't be knocked out, and it also gives Luffy here a chance to get himself back up, and he reverses the attack. Where is that here? Wait. So next he I think this is where Kaido tries to attack him, but he let me see if I watch it again. Speed it up. So he goes there, then he gets attacked. Oh yeah. So this point here, I didn't get the screenshot properly, but Kaido jumps down to the ground here. He takes advantage of the ground. Yeah, I did get it. He jumps down here, and he's actually starting to try and take advantage of some of Luffy's abilities with the ground. He bounces off of here like a trampoline and attempts another hit on Luffy, but this time Luffy is able to dodge it. As I can't really show you here. And he starts spinning around here. I love to how his eyeballs are like this. Because it's funny here. His eyeballs are up here, falling off his face again, and he ends up grabbing them and sticking them back in his face. And what's this bit again? Hold on, let me go away. And at this point here, Kaido is getting confused again, and he's commenting on how it's funny, how it's odd, how he's never seen anyone fight like this, because he's fighting so freely. He's affecting the environment in a weird way, and he's combining conquerors and armament Haki together in a way to fight him. And he keeps trying to chase after Luffy here, but Luffy ends up taking the ground here and creating a big archway, and he comes down and gets a very solid hit on Kaido here. Probably one of the best ones he gets in this arc. It is one of the best ones, and he so much so he pushes Kaido through the one side of the archway Luffy created. Yeah, we're almost at the end here. So then Luffy finally gets this great charges up here. This is something I didn't catch at first, but I saw other people pointing out. He gets up against this one rock face, and he doesn't change this into rubber. And he reminds me like he's trying to turn into a frog or something. I thought for a moment his face is really wide, and he squats himself against the horizontal against this wall while he's positioning himself, and Kaido gets ready to fight back against this. But right here, it reminded me of Gear 2nd initially, but other people point out he seems to be like replicating Bellamy's ability, where he can turn his legs into springs to bounce around. So, and they're definitely right, because he uses this position to launch off. And like I said, look how he's just very flattening himself out. And he flies off in that position, reminiscent to me of Gear 4th again. But instead he does like this helicopter thing to speed up. It reminds me kind of, so he's kind of like, I think, gaining velocity for a punch. Yeah, and he does punch him, Kaido, but like instead of using where his arm stretches back, he spins around like this, and he's successful in getting a really solid punch here into Kaido's face before Kaido can hit him. He takes advantage of that speed in a way where his giant form earlier failed, I think he's starting to realize that sometimes he's got to be careful against a foe against like Kaido when using size when they can move faster, and he gets a solid hit here. So much so he's pushing through Kaido's head. And I must say, if this was anyone else who was like if this was like even Doflamingo, I think, and Luffy punched him like this, I think that would have done Doflamingo in. Definitely someone much weaker, because this does not take Kaido out, but boy, does it look like it friggin' hurts. Look how he punched his face literally in rubber style. Oh my god, look at that shot. Now they do this from different shots here, and I got a few of them. Sideways, up above, and he sends Kaido flying here. And he gets all goofy here at the end. This is near the end, and he starts like helicoptering himself around. And of course, we got Momo and Yamato like, oh my, what the hell is Luffy doing? This is not how he usually fights. And what is he? And all that stuff. So he's knocked Kaido down here, and for a moment there, I think Kaido's is an extreme shock at this point. He's like he starts seeming like he had an advantage a little bit earlier in this fight in this episode, but Luffy just came back with these wacky abilities, fighting as he fancied, as the one Gorosei said, and he's really caught Kaido off guard here. Like he's not winning as he's not he like I'm in a way I think he's having fun, but he's getting so perplexed here. He's not having an advantage he's used to having with his superior strength and speed. So he's just sitting there a moment trying to figure out how he can fight Luffy. How can he gain advantage? Because he tried first fighting him as a dragon. That's not working. He switched to his hybrid. Now he's like seeing that most of his tactics aren't working as well as he thought. And Luffy just begins bouncing again here. And here's where you see Kaido like looking like, what just happened? What is he doing? And how do I fight back against this? Yeah, and Luffy's just here bouncing around. And he's starting to think about naming an attack. I think he's trying to think of what the punch he just used, he's asking, what should I call it? Also, he's still using Gumu Gumu for his attacks. So when he escaped from Kaido's stomach, I think he called it Escape Rocket. Gumu Gumu Escape Rocket and stuff like that. So he's still using all those Gumu Gumus, and he's trying to think up a name for that. I would just call it like Helicopter Punch or something, but there's no helicopters here. What could he call it? Spinning Punch? Yeah, something like that. And then he's like Luffy. He asked Luffy, Kaido here at the end, like, Luffy, what are you? Like, I don't get what you are. I can't figure it out. And Luffy just like, well, Luffy takes the question too direct, and he's like, oh, I'm me. This is who I am. Get used to it, kind of thing. Oops. Where is this? No. I'll just play this. Right? So, where is that? So we kind of, yeah, where's that? Hold on, just looking over here. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Yeah. So we end off here first with Zunisha watching the fight again, and I like this pull away shot. So and Zunisha again is like, first we'll go with the shot. The shot is great. It pulls out from Kaido staring at Luffy on the back of the skull, and it pulls out to show the Mount Fuji like place. And then we get the waterfalls, and we get a great shot here of the walls. I really like how they show the walls are. Although it does kind of make the place look smaller than it is. No, oh well, perspective shots are hard probably. And then they pull out showing all these pillars. I don't remember what these are all here for, but they're very interesting. We see the shot of the ships. And also, what's this on Zunisha's face? Like moss? And then he's reminiscing about Joyba again and how he misses him. And he can't help but feel hopeful for the future, I guess. But he also says like, what's he say here? Let me look again. Yeah, he goes like, I can't help counting on him, and it feels like fate. So I think Zunisha is really extremely reminiscent of what him of when he sees saying of Joy Boy like that. I think he's speaking of the individual who had Luffy's fruit before, and who must have been a friend to him, a dear friend. Again, I feel like he's probably feeling a little guilty and mournful because I'm guessing that Zunisha may have accidentally or somehow maybe someone like not Spartam. Who was that? He did that. The guy who stabbed Whitebeard. He may be feeling in a position like that where he caused Joy Boy's defeat, the first Joy Boy, and he feels like this that Luffy coming back with the fruit can fix the wrongs of the past, can fix his wrongs of the past, perhaps. So I really like how he's bringing that up. And then we ended. We just. And I like this part too, where I got on the screen where the Cipher Paul agents are still like, "Oh my god, what is that? And can we fight it?" And another great shot, Zunisha. And we end it here. I love this effect here. So Luffy does his typical thing. I'm Luffy, but in this case, he said, "I'll be the one who surpass you, Kaido, and become king of the pirates." And that's where we ended off here. And that really looks like it pisses Kaido off because he's still. It's funny because he said earlier. I think that was episode 1032 when he knocked Luffy out the first time, and he's like, "Oh, you couldn't be Joy Boy." And I think he still gets upset because I think Kaido in some ways still wants to be king of the pirates, but at the same time he's also just been a gatekeeper and kind of realized that the goal was too hard. But I think when Luffy said that to him, he's like, "No, you can't be the king of the pirates. You're not tough enough yet. You haven't proven yourself enough." And I think part of that though is he says, I think he said in the last episode, like, fight seriously, or he said it here too. You're not fighting seriously, so I can't take you serious as king of the pirates if you don't fight like I do. But I mean, what does it matter? Who let him fight the way he wants. If he wins, he wins. It's not like he's trying to do dirty tactics. He's just silly. I guess that way, being silly like that doesn't help Kaido. He could even say, he actually did say a little bit ago in this episode, finding a kid is so tiresome. I think he used the words. Uh oh, sorry, I didn't see a chat. Thank you. I didn't see a chat. I'm sorry. I get so into this I don't check the chat. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Um, so that's about it though. God, how many screenshots did I take that? How do I check my live stuff? Can I check that here? Wait, no. Let's go live. Thank you for the comments, Moki. I'll just call you. Yeah, I really love this. Hey, oh. How can I like your comment? Can I like your comment here? I guess I can't. But yeah, this is great. I really like too. My favorite thing. Oh, that's what I want to go over. My favorite thing about this episode and this whole fight in general. If you watched Bleach, you'll understand this. With the fight between Yukiora and um, Ichigo, the fight does go on a while. Admittedly, I need to watch. I actually never watched all the episodes for it. I just read it. There is a point. The point there where Luffy is killed by Yukiora. Very reminiscent, very similar to this. And I think for a while there, One Piece and I'll stop. I'll save that part for later. Um, he gets. I think Yukiora blows a hole through Ichigo's chest, and Ichigo because he transformed his final. He transforms a couple times. He's got two transformations, and even that first one seemed like it was more powerful than what Ichigo can use at the time. But he's trying to like really scare Ichigo, I think, and he finally kills Ichigo, but his Hollow saves him. The Hollow in there is similar to the Awakening here, where I'm gonna take this off a second too, and Yukiora meets Hollow Ichigo in like his pure form, and that form also is my favorite one of Ichigo's in the series. And but the fight after that is over in one episode, or barely an episode. And I was always, the more I rewatched that, initially I thought it was kind of cool, but the more I rewatch it, the more I'm very disappointed at how easily um, Ichigo defeated Yukiura. And I don't think I'm the only one out there who believes that. Um, yeah, Yukiura too is by far my favorite of the Espada love. Is that what they're called? The Rancars are the main things, and Espada I think is, he's like a Vasto Lorde or something. He is by far my favorite version of that, of the how many did Aizen make? 10 of them. He's by far my favorite one and the coolest design and everything. He's this super slim guy thing with form with the wings and everything. And Ichigo too looks really cool with the horns. But the fight was just over too soon. Like the best that Yukiura even does is that one time I think Ichigo's hollow form, he's like trying to attack Yukiura from different sides, and he's countering with his energy spear, but it just he smashes Yukiura's face into the wall. He blocks the attacks. It just was too OP, and we never see that form again in the canon events. I think it appears in one of the movies. I don't know, watched all the movies, but after that, we get the last thing that happens relatively quickly, where Ichigo transforms into that souped up human looking form, and the Vasto Lorde never comes back, and it's just everything. Oh, anyways, no, Yukiura and him. I like that this fight feels like that, where Ichigo's I keep getting Luffy and Ichigo mixed up. Luffy's achieved this ultimate form, likely. Although I hope they kind of bring something else a little bit out of it to make it dramatic at the end. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes with Blackbeard. Luffy has gained his form. He's got all this training in Udon. He's got the advanced armor and haki. He's still having a hard time against Kaido. It's great. They're making us not enjoy this fight because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And Luffy's fighting as he fancies is the ultimate icing on the cake, because we know it's not going to just be a boxing match where let's say boom here and this guy takes an uppercut. No, Luffy is punching and he's still fighting like the fight. It's funny too because he's like just like his grandfather, who's called Garp the Fist. Luffy, I don't know what they'll call Luffy. Luffy needs a different type of epithet, if I can say that right. But he's gonna, he wants to win by punching Kaido out, but he's using all this wacky stuff now, and I almost feel like that's the devil fruit giving him ideas, or maybe he is, because he did say in the last episode, I can finally do everything I wanted. So he is trying out. Maybe he's just trying out the new things. Because then it's bringing him back to his old ways, where he did all kinds of wacky stuff. Like I feel like he did do more like stuff like that in some of the older arcs. So when he beat the lion that belongs to one of Buggy's men, his arms twisted together and grabbed him, and he had that net attack. I think he used that against. I know he used that against Crocodile. And I think he used it when they were at the slave house. He caught all those cannonballs. So he did wacky stuff like that. That's the kind of Luffy this is reminiscent of, and I enjoy more. I like that he brought out Gear 4th and he has Gear 3rd that increases capabilities against tough foes. But I do enjoy this more, that he's being extremely silly. And again, though, I'm glad that he's not beating the hell out of Kaido easily. He's on the ropes as well. This is like a boxing match. I haven't watched one in a long time, but they're both getting tired. They're swinging haymakers basically now to try to win. And yeah, so this fight is like everything I wanted out of that fight with Yukiura and Ichigo back in the Bleach days. Actually, I still got to follow up on what's going on in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. But that's it today. That's all I wanted to go. I wanted to go over that and just show off this great artwork. And yeah, I'm gonna end this and just re-upload it as a video at a later time. So thanks, Moki, I probably should say. The moment was amazing. Yeah, the rest of the episode was amazing, Moki. This whole thing. And the next one, I gotta look what happens next. What's gonna happen next? Let me look briefly. I don't want to say much here. Wait, do I have that next arc? I have these here somewhere. What's gonna happen next quickly? Where was it? Oops. Come on. Oh, something with the Wi-Fi. All right, I'll look at it later. I know Luffy. What does Luffy do next? I just remember how that Kaido's gonna have something else up his sleeve. I'll just leave it at that. That'll be very interesting at the end. And Luffy has to pull out all his power to win. And I can't wait. So what's it? Sunday, 6 more days, and we'll get to the next episode. I hope there's no. And so thanks for watching.